Hello and welcome to my video all about how to knit the feather rib stitch. I'm not going to lie and say this is the easiest pattern to follow. There are a couple of awkward bits, but I think the results are well worth it. As you can see here, you get a very pretty lacy effect alongside some intricate looking ribbing. This is a 2-row pattern repeat, and the first thing you need to do is cast on a multiple of 5 plus 2. I've cast on 17. Then for row 1, which represents the right side or the front of the knitting, you need to begin by doing 2 purl stitches. So make sure the working yarn is at the front towards you and purl 2. And then we've reached the repeating section, which is yarn over, knit 2 together through the back loop, knit 1 and purl 2. Now usually you'd take the working yarn between the needles to the back to do any kind of knit stitch, but because we want to create a yarn over, we're not going to do that. In fact, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to go straight into doing the knit 2 together through the back loop. So take your right hand needle down through the back of the next 2 stitches, which can be a bit awkward, and then knit those 2 stitches together. By not taking the working yarn to the back before you did this, you create a yarn wrap around the right hand needle, or in other words, a yarn over. So now we've done the yarn over and the knit 2 together through the back loop, you need to do 1 regular knit stitch. And then purl 2 stitches. And then just repeat that until the end of the row. So that's yarn over, which basically entails doing nothing. Then knit 2 together through the back loop. So take your right hand needle down through the back of the next 2 stitches and then knit them together. Then knit a stitch and purl 2 stitches, and so on. Then row 2 begins with 2 knit stitches. So make sure the working yarn is at the back and knit 2. And then we've reached the repeating section. And just like row 1, it begins with yarn over and then knit 2 together through the back loop. However, this time, because the first stitches are knit stitches, we need to create the yarn over in a slightly different way. And to do this, you just need to bring the working yarn between the needles to the front, like so. Then knit 2 together through the back loop. So take the right hand needle down through the back of the next 2 stitches and knit them together. And then the next stitch is purl 1 through the back loop. And I think this is definitely the most awkward part of the pattern, so I'm going to do it slightly differently. Normally you take the right hand needle up through the back of the next stitch, cross the needle in front, and then purl the stitch. However, what I do is slip the stitch purlwise to the right hand needle, and then slip it back to the left hand needle knitwise. So bring the left hand needle up through the stitch to transfer it. What you've essentially done here is just twist the stitch. Then, making sure the working yarn is at the front, you can just do a regular purl stitch. And that's the purl 1 through the back loop completed. The process is a bit more long-winded, but it is a lot easier. And then to finish this repeating section, you need to knit 2 stitches. And just repeat these stitches across the row. So that's yarn over by bringing the working yarn to the front, Then knit 2 together through the back loop. Then bring the working yarn to the front and purl 1 through the back loop. So transfer the stitch to the right hand needle purlwise. Then back to the left hand needle knitwise. And then do 1 purl stitch. And then knit 2 stitches. And so on until the end of the row. As I'm demonstrating here, it can still be difficult to purl into this stitch, and if you're struggling, feel free to just push the stitch towards the needle point, and that should make it easier to purl into. Then just keep repeating these 2 rows over and over, and you should end up with something like this. As you can see, you get that ribbed texture, but with a lacy effect. I think this pattern would look particularly pretty in a lighter weight yarn, or even a fluffy mohair yarn. And that's it, that's how you knit the feather rib stitch. I really hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.